x its body weight in blood every night. Intro. In the moonless dark of Central and South America, a silent, high-stakes drama plays out every single night. It's a story of survival pushed to its absolute physiological limit. Our protagonist weighs less than a double-A battery, yet its nightly quest is monumental. It has to find, outwit, and feed from a creature thousands of times its own size, a sleeping giant, totally unaware of the life or death mission happening on its very skin. This isn't some monster from a horror film. This is the common vampire bat, and believe me, the myths don't do it justice. Hook. Every night, this tiny mammal has to drink a massive amount of blood. If it fails for just 2 or 3 nights in a row, it will literally starve to death. So, how does it pull off this incredible feat without its victim ever waking up? How has it engineered its own body to become the most sophisticated blood-hunting machine on the planet? The answers aren't in myths, but in a series of unbelievable biological hacks that blur the line between science fiction and reality. Section 1. A desperate hunger to get the vampire bat. You first have to get its desperation. Unlike almost any other mammal, it's an obligate sanguivore. That's a scientific way of saying it has absolutely no other choice. Its diet is blood, and only blood. Out of over 1,400 species of bats, only 3 are vampire bats, and they're the only mammals on Earth that have gone all in on this liquid diet. But that commitment comes with a terrifying cost. Blood, for all its importance, is a surprisingly terrible food source. It's about 78% water, and the rest is mostly protein. It's missing the fats and carbohydrates that most animals, including us, rely on for high-energy fuel. This means a vampire bat has to drink a huge amount just to get by. A typical meal is about half its body weight every single night. For a 40-gram bat, that's like a human chugging dozens of liters of a thin, metallic soup. And the clock is always ticking. Their metabolism is so incredibly fast they can't store energy effectively. They don't build up fat reserves like a bear getting ready for winter. If a vampire bat misses a meal for just 2 to 3 nights, it will die. This constant threat of starvation is the engine driving its every move, the evolutionary pressure that has forged it into a master of its craft. This isn't about being a villain, it's about a relentless, nightly battle for survival against an unforgiving metabolic deadline. Section 2. The silent approach. The mission kicks off as darkness falls. The bat leaves its roost, a hollow tree or a dark cave, and flies out into the night. Its target is usually a sleeping mammal. Historically, that meant animals like tapirs, but in today's world, it's much more likely to be domesticated livestock, like cattle. Finding a warm body in the vast darkness is the first challenge. Like other bats, it uses echolocation, sending out high-frequency chirps to build a 3D map of its surroundings. But for this job, echolocation isn't enough. The vampire bat has a secret weapon, a built-in thermal scanner worthy of a sci-fi blockbuster. Its nose has specialized pits with heat-sensing receptors so sensitive they can detect the faint infrared radiation from warm blood flowing just under the skin. It's basically seeing in thermal vision, scanning a sleeping animal for the perfect spot where a blood vessel is close to the surface. And that's not all. Their hearing is so sharp they can distinguish the subtle, rhythmic breathing of a sleeping animal from one that's awake and alert. This multi-sensory approach lets it pinpoint the ideal target and the perfect moment to strike. Once a target is chosen, the vampire bat does something most other bats can't: it lands. But not on its victim. It lands quietly on the ground nearby. And then it runs. Unlike the clumsy shuffling of other bat species, the vampire bat is a shockingly agile athlete. It uses its strong back legs and the powerful thumbs on its wings to launch itself forward in a nimble, controlled sprint. It can walk, run, and even jump, letting it sneak up on an unsuspecting cow with total stealth. Scientists have even studied them on tiny treadmills, revealing a creature just as adapted to moving on the ground as it is to flying. This ability to stalk its prey on foot is a key adaptation that makes it a true ninja of the night. Section 3. The surgeon's cut. Having crept up to its massive, sleeping host, the bat now faces the most delicate part of the operation. It can't just bite and hang on. That would definitely wake the animal. The goal is to create a wound that provides a steady flow of blood for up to 30 minutes, all without causing any pain. First, it often uses its teeth to gently shave away any hair from the target spot, clearing the way for a clean cut. Then, it brings out its surgical instruments, its upper incisor teeth. These teeth are unlike any other mammals. They're triangular, razor sharp, and, most remarkably, they don't have enamel. The lack of enamel, the hardest substance in our bodies, might sound like a weakness. But for the bat, it's genius. The softer material on one side of the tooth wears away faster than the other, creating a perpetually self-sharpening edge. Every time it feeds, its teeth get honed to a scalpel's precision. With these tools, it makes a tiny, shallow slice in the skin, rarely more than 5 millimeters deep. The cut is so fine and swift that the host almost never feels it. Now, the myth of the vampire sucking blood is just that, a myth. It doesn't have the muscles for suction. Instead, it laps. Its tongue is another marvel. On its underside are two grooves that work with its lower lip to create a capillary-like tube, using physics to draw blood into its mouth like a spooky, furry little straw. For the next 20 to 30 minutes, the bat will stay there, lapping up the life-sustaining fluid, a silent, tiny surgeon performing its nightly procedure. Section 4. The chemical cocktail. The perfect incision is only half the battle. Any wound, no matter how small, triggers the body's defenses. Blood vessels constrict, and the blood begins to clot. For the vampire bat, this would mean its hard-won meal would dry up in seconds. But it has evolved the ultimate countermeasure, a highly sophisticated chemical cocktail in its saliva. The moment it makes the cut, its saliva gets to work. First, it contains an anesthetic to numb the area, ensuring the sleeping giant feels no pain. Next, it releases vasodilators, compounds that make the blood vessels around the wound widen instead of shrink, guaranteeing a steady flow. But the star of the show, the ingredient that makes the whole thing possible, is a powerful anticoagulant protein. The most famous one is Desmodus rotundus salivary plasminogen activator, or DSPA for short. It works by targeting and breaking down the very structure of a blood clot. This chemical is so effective at preventing clotting that the blood flows freely for the entire feeding. This chemical arsenal is so potent that it has captured the attention of human medicine. Researchers isolated DSPA, also known as desmoplasm, and tested it as a treatment for stroke patients, hoping its powerful clot-busting abilities could dissolve clots in the human brain. While human trials between 2003 and 2014 didn't ultimately succeed for that specific purpose, the very fact that scientists look to this creature of myth for a solution to a modern medical crisis says everything about its incredible biology. Section 5. The feast and the weighty getaway. For nearly half an hour, the bat laps up blood. In that time, it can drink an astonishing amount, sometimes up to 1.4 times its own pre-meal body weight. This is like an 80-kilogram person drinking over 100 kilograms of liquid in one go. And this creates two immediate, very serious problems. First is the water problem. Blood is mostly fluid, and drinking so much so fast would overwhelm any normal mammal. But the vampire bat's stomach and kidneys are specially adapted to go into overdrive. Its stomach lining rapidly absorbs the water, and its super efficient kidneys pull that fluid out of the blood and turn it into urine. In fact, a vampire bat often starts peeing within just 2 minutes of starting its meal. It's basically dumping all the low-value water to concentrate the precious proteins it desperately needs. The second problem is weight. Even after getting rid of the water, a bat that has just fed is way heavier than when it arrived, sometimes nearly double its weight. It can be so heavy that taking off from the ground is a real challenge. A normal bat would be grounded, an easy snack for any predator. The vampire bat has one last trick. It uses its powerful legs and unique wing thumbs as a spring-loaded catapult. Crouching down, it can launch itself more than 3 feet straight into the air, a powerful vertical leap that gives it just enough height to start flapping and make a getaway. Heavily loaded, it flies back to the roost, its dangerous mission complete. Section 6. A diet of liquid rust. Returning to the roost doesn't mean the challenge is over. In some ways, the hardest part is just beginning. The bat has its meal, but now its body has to process a food source that is, by all normal standards, toxic. The first and most dangerous problem is iron. Blood is packed with it. After its meal, the vampire bat has an iron level in its body 800 times higher than what's safe for most mammals. For us, that would be fatally toxic. The bat, however, evolved a unique fix. It lost a gene that controls iron absorption, which lets its intestines pass most of the excess iron straight through its system and poop it out. It sheds the liquid rust before it can cause any damage. Then there's the diet's extreme imbalance, almost all protein, with no fats or carbs. Recent studies have shown something remarkable about how they solve this energy crisis. Scientists put vampire bats on tiny treadmills and discovered that, unlike other mammals that burn stored fats and carbs for energy, vampire bats power their movements by directly burning amino acids from the blood they just drank. Up to 60% of the energy they use comes directly from their most recent meal. It's a metabolic strategy seen in some insects, but a first for mammals. They've essentially rewired their entire energy system to run on protein. To handle all this, their gut microbiome, the bacteria in their digestive system, has also become highly specialized, helping to break down protein and even produce crucial vitamins missing from blood. On top of that, their immune systems are on constant high alert, armed with unique, jumping genes that have reinforced their defenses against the many pathogens they're exposed to by drinking blood. Section 7. The social safety net. This relentless struggle has led to the most surprising and maybe the most UN vampire-like trait of all. They are incredibly social and cooperative. The image of a solitary monster couldn't be further from the truth. They live in colonies where complex social bonds are the absolute key to survival. The most stunning example is their practice of food sharing. A bat that returns to the roost hungry isn't necessarily doomed. It will approach a roost mate, often one it has spent time grooming, and ask for a meal. If the bond is strong, the successful hunter will regurgitate some of its own blood meal to feed its starving friend. It's a literal life-saving act. For a long time, scientists thought this was just for close relatives. But groundbreaking research shows that's not the whole story. Vampire bats form long-term friendships with unrelated individuals, building these bonds through social grooming. They literally keep track of who has helped them in the past. Studies show a bat is far more likely to share with another bat that has previously shared with it or groomed it. It's a system of, I'll save you tonight, so you'll save me tomorrow. In fact, having received food in the past is a predictor of giving food that is over 8 times more important than being related. This social network isn't just a backup plan, it extends to the hunt itself. Researchers using tiny, backpack trackers discovered that bats with established friendships are more likely to meet up while foraging. They use specific calls to find their friends out in the wild, possibly to share information about good feeding spots. These relationships, built on trust and cooperation, prove that even in the darkest corners of the natural world, community can be the most powerful adaptation of all. CTA, the vampire bat, challenges our perceptions at every turn. It's a creature of stealth, surgery, and chemistry, born from intense evolutionary pressure. But it's also a deeply social animal that relies on friendship to survive. If this journey into the world of the real vampire has changed how you see them, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the most misunderstood marvels of nature. And let us know in the comments, what biological hack did you find the most incredible? Conclusion: forget the caped villain. Instead, picture a tiny, desperate athlete. An animal with a thermal imaging unit on its face, a self-sharpening scalpel in its mouth, and a miniature pharmacy in its saliva. A creature that runs on a metabolic engine unlike any other mammal, defying the very rules of its own diet. Most importantly, picture an animal that, despite its fearsome reputation, understands a fundamental truth. In a world of constant risk, the best chance of survival is having a friend to count on. They aren't monsters of the night, they are masterpieces of evolution, a bloody, brilliant testament to the extremes of life on Earth.